Hey Dom, this is Dave's side. Today I want to get into some people online wanting answers over some new lyrics in RM's new song. RM has been getting some weird backlash lately, so I wanted to get into all of that. And V was forced to leave the airport very quickly. So hater or not, make sure you subscribed with the notification bell on. Forever Dumpling, T-Spelling merch, and let's get into it. Let us talk today and let's jalapeno business. Now that some of the lame non-veggie pun-loving people are gone, we shall talk. First off, let's wish a happy birthday to Jung. Kook. Feel free to spam it everywhere. Now, V has recently landed back in Korea. I believe this was very interesting to me because I was following or trying to follow what V had been up to in New York. I didn't go out and look for him, obviously, but I was trying to see if there were hints online or even if there was any paparazzi that had caught anything, but there was nothing. And then recently we saw him at JFK Airport and the airport in Korea. And somehow all these fans and news sites knew to wait for V at the airport at this time and stuff. Now, I am never the first to yell that it's a stalker fan leaking info, because if the information was actually leaked online, then we would have all known, and it would have gone viral from either people attacking the account because they don't want that information out, or it would just go viral because it would be the first time we see V in New York since he landed initially. What I assumed happened is that news sites were made aware of V going back to Korea because sometimes publicists leak this info, and the news sites started to live stream as they do. Like Dispatch, I think, does this sometimes. A lot of the fans that were at the airport waiting and recording the footage we see online of V were probably not too far from the airport. JFK Airport in New York is pretty close to everything. For the most part, New York City is very walkable. So even from the main city area to JFK, it's like 40 minutes. And even from where I live, it's like maybe 15 minutes by car. And there's like 30 modes of public transit that can get you directly to the airport. So the idea that fans can get notified of a stream online and then jump on a train, get a cab cheaply, or run over there is not uncommon. And that's how they would know, and not really based on illegally obtained information. However, just because the information may or may not be obtained illegally doesn't mean that the actions of some people are acceptable. V had security, big ups to Hive, and they were doing their job. They were pushing people out of the way, and their job is to protect the idol. They do not care about anyone else's safety, so they'll push you hard if they need to. But V was very gently nudging people away. A woman snuck up to the back of V, and there was a guard there, but maybe the guard didn't realize, but she snuck her hand through a little opening and was able to touch V. Of course, this happened, and I don't 100% blame this girl. She got excited, and we don't always act the most rational when we get excited or when we see someone who we love in person, right? Like there's stories of a mother's house being on fire, and instead of rescuing her kids, she grabs a toilet seat instead. Things like that where you're just not thinking. But she seemed excited to have touched V. I guess now she can tell her friends that she touched V. Now what she did was less than harmful, but another quote-unquote fan could not be as nice and not as innocent, right? I think this is where the concern comes from. If a fan can be this close to V, there needs to be more done by the airport at this point. Like maybe Hybe can call a head of security at the airport and make sure people are locked behind a rope. When you see BTS members or any K-pop idol walk out of the airport in Korea, fans and news reporters are always behind a rope. And that rope was probably obviously not normally there and was put in because of the celebrity. If you can do that in Korea, then you can do that in New York. V posted on Weverse when he came back that he had arrived safely and that he had loads of pictures and will post soon. So we will see those photos soon and what he has been up to. I do believe he had been working with Vogue, so I'm wondering if those photos are Vogue and behind the scenes of that, or if it's just him rummaging around the city. Seems like each individual member has a lot going on, and I think very soon we'll be able to see the fruits of their labor, if you will. RM has been spotted in a recent collab, not really spotted, but Big Hit has been teasing this collab for a little bit, and RM has featured on a song called SEXY NUKIM, which is a very catchy song, and I do give my first time reaction to it on Patreon, so if you want to go over there and check it out, I will link my Patreon below. But the song is great, but this feature comes at a very weird time. I will get more into the song a bit later, but because of the song, it seems RM's name is getting back up again, and the recent controversy that RM had that wasn't his fault at all keeps getting brought up, and RM keeps getting homophobic, xenophobic, and downright racist comments. So what is this controversy? Someone created a fake article about the most handsome man of the year. They compared RM to Henry Cavill. RM won first and Henry won second in this article. The person who is responsible for the real handsome man of the year comes out and fully denies the article and says it's fake. The real article will come out in December. So you think, okay, well, the article is cute, it's fake, no big deal. But of course, we live in a racist society and it is a big deal. because according to most Western beauty standards, the Western beauty standard is the standard of beauty, anything else that doesn't resemble a white man is going to seem less attractive. Henry fans were obviously attacking RM to say that it doesn't make any sense for RM to win this, and then apparently there was a writer who is known to be a famous writer, and I don't know their work, I'm not familiar, but the writer had brought up this article to say that RM winning makes no sense, and that he is girly looking and too soft, and RM would never win against Henry because RM has had plastic surgery and all this nonsense. I won't get into the plastic surgery thing because that's a comment that has been beaten to death. We all know BTS hasn't gotten surgery. There's nothing else for me to say to that comment. It's boring and she's tired, let her rest. Now, saying that RM or BTS looks too girly is racist. It's not the fact that you think it is. You might look at an Asian man and say, oh, they have less facial hair or they're softer looking, and this is what feminine is. But as an Asian man myself who finds it difficult to grow facial hair, I don't have any body hair, and my face is without surgery. I've got nothing done. It's naturally softer looking. I can't change this, and if I were to adhere to Western beauty standards, which I have my entire life, I would just end up hating myself. I would sit there and think that I'm ugly, worthless, and all these things, and I would be scared to be on camera in America in fear of being called too girly. If it bothered me that much, I would have to go get surgery to look more quote-unquote masculine. And I don't know many Asian men that have grown up in America that have not at one point wished that they were white because they think that women would find them more attractive, because they were told their entire life that they were not manly, and the features that were manly were only found in their white male friends. This comment is racist, and as someone who is not white, referring to the writer, I would assume they would understand this. People were reporting the writer to hide. I don't know if that will do anything. The writer may have said some insensitive comments, but saying comments that could be perceived as racist is not against the law. If she gave death threats and that sort of thing, then it's illegal, but giving what appears to be an opinion is not. People were also giving their opinions on the new song SEXY NUKIM. This is not RM's song, but he is featured in it. The song itself is very catchy and the beat is so good. RM did have his verse that was a little controversial online. It is not actually anything controversial. Like, he didn't say kill children or something. He simply rapped and the lyrics insinuated something a little sexy. But I mean, look at the title of the song. Of course, it'll be sexy. He said the phrase, girl, you can keep it low while we do the ride, which people were saying, ride what? To which my response is, bicycle, obviously. It's a song about a bike, so clearly it's that. But some people were saying that it was too sexual. Another line was when he said, tonight I paint you. And maybe this is a reference to a steamy Titanic scene. But some people were upset that it was too raunchy. I find it funny how the fandom got upset when they believed James Corden said that BTS fans were all teens. But then if a member does anything or something less family friendly or says something like that, then they get mad. And maybe some people even want the verse removed because they think it sets a bad example. I don't know. But he is a rapper. He is close to 30 and he is an adult. He can say adult things. It also ties into this idea that people would be upset if he dated. But anywho, what do you think? What do you think about RM's more suggestive lyrics in SEXY NUKIM? How do you feel about the racism or hate thrown towards RM? And how do you feel about V's safety at the airport? Let me know, and make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, a link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.